So you've decided to rescue Sazza the Goblin from the Emerald Grove, and this might be whether you decided to visit the Goblin Healer, perhaps just use Sazza to infiltrate the Goblin camp, or whatever reason you may be planning for your playthrough. This guide will take you through the process of doing so, as well as some audio along the way to give you some insight.
That's the point. Get out of the way.
As always, be mindful that some of the responses you may choose in dialogue may affect whether your companions approve or disapprove of you as a result.
If you ever had it to begin with.
Like many quests in Baldur's Gate 3, there's multiple solutions here. I find stepping in front of the crossbow and then using the persuasion option to be the most consistent for this quest, which is why I chose to show it.
You move.
Now I'm making use of the Friends cantrip here, and I definitely recommend this whether you have a charisma character or not. This is incredibly underutilized as well as underappreciated in my opinion. It's an extremely strong cantrip for helping you persuade or win charisma based roles during dialogues.
I wish you weren't, I really do. Damn you. Damn it! Why do you care if a goblin lives or dies?
You're soft. You'd better be right.
It's alright, Arca. Let's go.
With the tieflings out of the way, you can now speak to Sazza directly, and you'll have multiple options that you can go through as well. We're going to choose to take her out of the cage and have her help us to get into the goblin camp.
Ain't sure why it's too late to make. They're gonna burn this pretty place for the glory of the absolute and hang you by your guts. They'll peel your face off and nail it to a wall. I ain't scared of some god. Got a whole lab set up. Cooks up potions that could probably stick your head back on if someone was to chop it off. Mighty booyog.
Bah! A clever goblin's like a trustworthy gig. A figment of the imagination.
Get me out of here, and I'll tell you where to find her. Deal? Then hurry up and do it. My tribe ain't...
At this point, open the door however possible, or whatever your preferred method is, whether this is locating the key, lockpicking it, using the knock spell, breaking the door, etc.
Bloody teeths everywhere. Ready to go meet my tribe?
Once released, briefly speak to Sazza, and then head around the backside of the cage, where you can use jump to land onto the ledge below. Now there's a perception check here to find the next entranceway, and I've personally never failed this. I'm sure that it's possible, but it seems to be an incredibly low chance of doing so.
Glowing eyes are rarely a good sign.
When we enter the underground passage, we'll also encounter a puzzle as well as some mobs. Now the puzzle here involves 3 switches and 3 statues. Failure to disable a switch will result in the statues doing large damage to you if you get into range of them. I find Mage Hand the best way of disabling this. There's various other ways as well, and at the minimum you can always send just one character in, disable the switch manually by getting up to it and clicking it, and at least save the rest of your party from taking some damage. And like that, you can see just how effective Mage Hand is at handling 2 of the 3 switches. The third one we'll get after the battle here with the goblins. And keep in mind that if you inch too close to the goblins while attempting to disable the traps, or sending a party member forward to do it manually, you'll engage in combat as well. At this point in the game, to conserve any healing possible, I would recommend extinguishing this torch, and then using the hide option to bring your entire party forward, remove them one at a time into preferable spots, and opening on the goblins since we know that we're going to kill them rather than have any real conversation. If the goal or premise of your playthrough is something different than this, or you're aligning with the goblins, then obviously adjust your situation accordingly.
That's why I've been stabbing all the rats. Might be spies.
I am death.
Stubborn.
Since this quest is relatively early on in the playthrough, I'd also like to mention for anybody unaware that hiding your entire party and separating them into different locations is a great tactic for initiating combat if you know that the dialogue is most likely headed there. This gives you an advantage as you attack these enemies, and you also get the ability to choose when you want to enter combat with that character.
Victory awaits.
Feel death's cold grip.
By using this tactic, you can see I pretty much made relatively short work of this encounter and saved a lot of potential healing that I might have needed on my party at a time that supplies are pretty scarce. Loot everything up to collect the spoils, and then you can interact with Findal, and you'll notice that there's very limited options here. However, you can use any means of healing him, whether a healing potion that you throw at him, a healing spell, and so forth.
Rescue attempt has been noticed.
Immediately after recovering, Findal will become aggressive because we have Sazza in a group sees the hostile goblin. At this point, you can use a dialogue option in order to pass a dice check. In my case, I failed, he remained aggressive, and I had to handle him.
Your words are futile. The goblin will not be allowed.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
Repositioning.
For the third and final switch in the underground passage, you should have access to Lizelle in your party at this point, and her psionics jump at this level makes really easy work of this. You can activate the psionics jump, leap down, press the switch, climb back up, and leap back to the previous side. Don't forget to loot the corpse. This will have a key that will unlock a chest we'll get access to before we leave the passage.
Better find somewhere to come through.
Head up the stairs, loot all the barrels and the crates, and as you approach the chest, you should notice that it's trapped. Use whatever you can to disarm the trap. Once done, you can use the key to open it.
Trap. Be cautious.
At this point, you can exit the passage. Sazza will have some short dialogue with you, in which point she'll run off to the camp. When you reach up with her at the camp, she will hold good on her end of the bargain.
Thought I was never gonna get out of there. Good to be free again, gotta say. I'll introduce you to my whole tribe.
As always, thanks for taking the time to watch, and have a great day.